Welcome to the Castanet Newsroom Studio in downtown Kelowna. I'm Wayne Moore with Kelowna's Golden Girl, Kelsey Serwa. Kelsey, welcome back to Canada. Welcome back to Kelowna.
Thanks, Wayne.
Wow, 6 weeks since PyeongChang. Does it feel like 6 weeks?
It's crazy that it's been that long because it honestly feels like it just happened yesterday.
Yeah. Before we get into the race and everything else, I want to ask you, is this the end of Kelsey Serwa's racing career? Are you going to go out on top, or are you going to continue to race?
This was my last Olympics, for sure. And my plan for next year is to go to university, so go to UBCO for the first semester. Right. Hopefully convince my teachers to let me write my final exams as early in December as possible, because then I'm going to get on a flight, head over to Europe, join up with my team, and compete the rest of the winter season. One
more season then?
Yeah, and it's a World Championships year, so that happens every other year, surrounds the Olympics. And yeah, I mean, I figured it'd be fun to, you know, kind of just go out for a victory lap. Obviously, going out to win every race, but you know, just really appreciate the journey that I've been on this last 10 years, and to celebrate this medal.
72 World Cup races so far, and counting obviously, 19 top threes, 8 wins on the World Cup circuit, 1 World Championship in 2011, 2 X Games gold medals, of course, your Olympic gold and Olympic silver. I mean, there's not much for you to do. I mean, you've basically done it all.
Yeah, I mean, this year was, I wasn't worried about results. I was focusing more on how I was feeling as a competitor, as an athlete, every time I stood in that start gate. So for me, it was the progression at a personal level, and I was building every race, and it felt like I was building and building going into those Olympics. And so looking back at this season and feeling that I still have room for improvement, you know, I'm still getting better, and so I think that's been my reason for wanting to keep going for one more year and for a handful more of races, because that's a wonderful feeling to have. You know, it's that I'm not at the end of my career. My body feels good, and I didn't think that I would be saying that come springtime after the season, but yeah, everything's going well. As
fans, we're results driven. We see the results, we don't see the work, we don't see, as you talk about, the progression. You had the podium, the first World Cup race this year. You had 5 top 5s, but the results seem to be a little mixed. Going into the Olympics, many would have looked at how the season went, how Sandra was killing it. Fanny had a great year. Brittany, Heidi Zacher, all, you know, right up there, maybe half a notch above you. What gave you the feeling going into PyeongChang that medal that's beside you was attainable?
Yeah, I think, so we had a race in Nikiska. It was our last World Cup race before the games. And I was in this start gate of the finals, beside Sandra, beside 2 French girls, and I felt good, I felt ready, I felt like I could win that race. But my ski popped off and I ended up 4th. So I think having that hunger, being the last experience before the games, really gave me the extra boost I needed at the Olympics. Also, a few days before our race, my teammate Brady, who also won gold, he told us, he's like, it doesn't matter what you've accomplished in the years or in the season leading up to these games. Everybody's going to stand in the start gate as equals there. And so I think I really used that as an advantage to that mindset, and as in, like, it didn't matter that I hadn't won a race yet that season. It didn't matter that I hadn't finished better than 3rd, because I had just as good as a shot as anybody else did.
Take us to the track in PyeongChang. The snowboarders went ahead of you a week before. I'm sure you saw some of that competition on the same course as you were. They were crashing like crazy. Any fear going into the training and the races themselves, knowing what the snowboarders had done, or is it so different that it can't creep into your mind?
Well, the snowboard cross track and our track was actually different. So we had the same start and we had the same finish, but soon after the start section, there's course went right where ours went left, and then we crossed over and under before meeting back up again. So we didn't hit a lot of the same features that they did, but we went out there and cheered on the men on their race day, partly just to be a part of Team Canada and you know, cheer on our fellow country people, but also to get comfortable with the venue itself, to feel the roar of the crowd, to be in that environment, to familiarize ourselves with it. So that essentially when we were there and I was just trying to envision myself being one of the snowboarders, you know, how was I gonna feel in that start gate through each section of a track and then in the finish line, and the energy and mindset that I wanted to bring up as I was being shuttled back to the start of the course for the next round. So I was kind of using it as a drill, which was really cool. And anyways, yeah, we got to watch our men race too in ski cross 2 days before. And again, like my intentions were to be like, okay, pretend it's you out there, but I was just so focused and hyped on watching our men's race. And of course they dominated. Brady won and Kevin Jury from Toronto came fourth. But just like to see how fast their skis were running, you know, again, everything was like building confidence for my race day.
What gave you the confidence? I mean, you watched the starts, you killed the starts. You know, one turn into each race, it seemed as if you were, you know, miles ahead of the competition. What gave you that advantage?
I think it was taking the pressure away from focusing on a result. You know, talking with my sports psych the whole season, the day before the race, and then throughout each round, throughout each heat, it was, you know, see how good you could be. So it didn't matter what everyone else was doing. My main focus out there, my main goal was just to challenge myself to see how good I could be each run, and that was it. Was
there something about the course that really suited you?
The track in PyeongChang was great. I loved it. All of us Canadians loved it. It's fast, it's flowy, technical in the sense that you have to make different moves over each jump. So it's not just a full press every time. So you actually have to remember where you are on track. But also, it had a lot of opportunity for passing. Our coach told us in inspection, he said, you know, don't plan for specific passing zones because you can pass everywhere. You know, you just have to see it and in that moment make a decision to go. And that, at first it was a little scary to hear that because I'm a planner. But then I realized that it was incredible because he had faith in our ability to make that call on the fly and make those split-second judgment decisions. And I think in him believing in us as athletes, it made me believe in myself as well.
When you're as far ahead as you are in a race like that, do you know where people are on the course behind you? Do you have somebody, a coach in your ear talking you through it, or is it all feel and the odd peak?
Yeah, it's all feel. Sometimes when you're leading, you can hear the people behind you, especially when we land off jumps. There's a bit of a slap on the snow. So if I land and I hear a slap a split second later, then I know that there's people right there. At the games, I mean, I have enough experience with ski cross racing and knowing that it's literally not over until you cross the finish line. So even in that final heat, I didn't dare look back, you know, I didn't dare let up until I crossed that finish line and it was official and over. And then of course to do that and to see my teammate Britt right there, it was like the most magical moment of my life.
And to have mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, your boyfriend all there at the finish line, that must have made it even more special? Yeah,
it was funny. We were kind of getting like corralled, getting ready to go up on the podium, and my boyfriend Stan, who surprised me, showing up in PyeongChang. I go and I give him a hug and I give him a kiss, and he's like, kind of, you know, all emotional. I'm like, are you crying right now? He's like, oh yeah, I've been crying all day. I'm like, oh, it's so wonderful. But you know, it wasn't just my moment by any means, you know, it was all the people that got me up there, that motivated me, that inspired me, that made sacrifices on my behalf, that funded my journey. And of course, you know, all of Kelowna that, you know, really cheered for me over there, sent me videos, sent me posts. You know, it was an entire group effort, and I think that everybody feels the pride of this medal as their own. I hope, anyways.
Oh, I'm sure they do. You're as positive a person, not only athlete, but in general, that I've seen and know. But the 3 knee operations, the therapy, the rehab, the training, was there any time that you said, you know what, maybe I should just, maybe it's done. Maybe I should not continue. Was there any time that crept in?
Yeah, for sure. Probably after every injury, to be honest. But I think that, and I honestly feel that challenges are just an opportunity to show yourself, show the people around you what you're made of. Nothing that we do in life is going to be perfect and easy and smooth sailing. And so I think I just accepted it as a challenge as such, and you know, wanted to move past it and be better. And it's one of those things, it's like when you're injured, you have to do the recovery anyways. You have to do the rehab. And then by the time you're strong and healthy, you're like, yeah, I can get back on the snow, no problem. And that's what I did. And I think it was just because we had such a great program in place for our, you know, our medical team that was well taken care of. You know, there was realistic benchmarks to achieve essentially throughout each stage of my recovery, that it just built my motivation and really encouraged me to get back out on the slopes and get back racing, because I was chasing this gold medal.
and obviously the work is well worth it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Before you go, you got to hold up the medals.
Sure. Yeah. So this is it. It's really cool. There's some writing along the side here, and it's called Hangul. And apparently it's the most scientific form of writing in the world. And essentially, so these are the consonants of PyeongChang. And then the design on the top is actually these letters like stretched.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But yeah, pretty proud little chunk of hardware to bring home. And you know, my grandpa Cliff, he is a competitive cyclist at 82 years old. And he told me, he's like, you know, there's something about gold that it's just the right color. Yeah. You know? So, but I mean, to come through all these years and essentially to have 2 Olympic medals. And someone brought this to my attention, that I'm actually the only ski cross athlete in the entire world that has 2 Olympic medals to my name. So that's a pretty cool honor in itself. It is. And just to be from humble little Kelowna, you know?
Well, and also, as we're talking about records, you're also the first Kelowna woman to win an Olympic Winter Games gold medal, the first woman from the Okanagan to win an able-bodied Olympic gold medal in the Winter Games. Ina Forrest from the North Okanagans won several in Paralympic curling, and the second Okanagan athlete period to win a gold at a Winter Games. And you lost that by like, what, 6 days, when Justin Cripps won the gold in bobsled from Summerland. So quite an accomplishment, as you say, from little old Kelowna. Yeah,
it was wonderful. And we got to watch Cripps and his team push their way to gold too, and that was incredible. He had a really cool post with him and the Germans saying that they were, you know, now brothers for life. And that, to me, it just encapsulates the Olympic spirit. You know, the Olympics brings about so much passion and pride and spirit. You know, it gets everybody fired up, from athletes to kids to parents to, you know, anybody. And that's what's really cool about the Olympic movement in itself.
Well, congratulations. And just before we run, if you believe in superstition and patterns, in Sochi, it was Mariel and yourself 1-2. Now it's you and Brittany 1-2. So I guess in Beijing in 2022, it's Brittany and Georgia, perhaps,
and someone else. Yeah.
Someone else,
we'll
1-2. Yeah. The pressure's on her now, and I'm sure you'll let her know that.
No, what? And I told her this. I'm like, one, people are going to call you the gold medalist, because people did that to me, and I had to correct people all the time. I'm like, no, actually, I got the silver. But I told her, I'm like, this is like, we won the Olympics. It wasn't I won and you were second. You know, we did it together. We won. We had this conversation too right before our race. Is like, it's so cool because we felt that we had two opportunities to do well at these games. One, if she got on the podium and I didn't, I would still feel the same amount of pride as if I had, and vice versa as well. So, you know, we've just been an incredible team working together, and I think that was one of our great successes, especially throughout the season, but heading into these games. It's also nice going into a games as the second place medalist, because you do have room to improve. And that's what I kept telling myself, and that's what I told Britt too. I'm like, don't worry about what you've accomplished. Don't worry about the pressure. You know, she's going to the next games, and I believe that she can do it. So, and I hope she believes so too. But yeah, it'll be really fun to watch and cheer for.
Well, Kelsey, congratulations again on the gold medal. Welcome back home.
Thanks, Wayne.
It's been a lot of fun. For Castanet News, I'm Wayne Moore.
Get Castanet's mobile app, available now on iTunes and Google Play.